It's a who's matchup between the 49ers and Buccaneers on Sunday. News for Right Option Podcast. Jason Aponte, hit the music.
Burp. 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 Burp.
It's been my favorite bit we've done all season. There's no reason to stop. It's the News
So,
for Right Option Podcast. I am joined, as always, by Jason Aponte, the only man in the world that I would want to run for tush pushes with. Jason Aponte, how's your Friday going?
it's fine. Oh, my God. Well, some would say also, and I've seen in the YouTube comments, don't ever get the music back. And
Hey,
you know
man.
what? We have to listen to the public.
We might have to, and it really nothing wrong with the music. It's just we've been running a intro video that it features Robbie Gold, Trey Lance. Probably need to
Debo
get that
Samuel.
changed. We don't have, we don't have that. We're podcasters. We're not video makers, but we know how to make music with our mouths. So that's what we do here at the Sport. We improvise, Jason Aponte. We improvise, and that's all we can do.
And improvise is the name of Baker Mayfield's game and what the 49ers are going to have to slow down on Sunday. See that?
That's why we're podcasters and not music makers, Jason Aponte. Hey, we are live. Jason, let's just dive right into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the San Francisco 49ers. A game that, with the Eagles' loss last night to New York Football Giants, means it is for the number one seed in the NFC, which, I mean, it's week 6. It's not, not telling you what the playoffs are going to look like, but it is something important, especially considering the 49ers are undefeated against NFC teams. So it's the Buccaneers are not. So obviously it's an important tiebreaker game should these two teams be back and forth all season. But it is an important week 6 game, as important of a week 6 game as you can get. And you know it because CBS has Jim Nance and Tony Romo on the call. So we're going to get to hear that. So that'll be fun. But Jason, it's going to be a fun game, and I'm looking forward to it.
I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I really would have preferred clearly that the 49ers and Bucks were more healthy, but
Mhm.
considering being able to break down that tape from last week with Tampa Bay and Seattle, man, I was looking forward to this one, but it is a little bit of a bummer, and I'm sure Andrew's going to start to touch on it.
Yeah, so this is actually going to be a first for the Sprint Right Option podcast. The entire episode is actually just going to be me listing the injury report for both of these teams because that's how
Yeah.
long it's going to take. We don't have updated Friday practices. Khalil, thank you. Bob Depp. They have a new album. I didn't know that. That's
Yes.
how out of touch I am
Yes.
right now.
With produced entirely by The Alchemist.
I
Fire.
love that. I might need to check that out, Jason. But let's get to the injury report here because it's gonna take a while. Robert Beal, Yatur Gross Matos, Ricky Pearsall, Brock Purdy, Jordan Watkins all did not practice yesterday for the 49ers. Limited in practice, Alfred Collins, Kalia Davis, Kevin Givens, DeJuan Jennings, Mac Jones, Upton Stout, and CJ West, and then full practice after not practicing earlier this week. Christian McCaffrey, Thomas Morstead, Malik Mustafa, which he's going to make his return on Sunday. Michael Williams and Trent Williams all looking good to go for Sunday's matchup. The Buccaneers, just as snake bitten as the 49ers, it came out within the last 30 minutes or so that the Buccaneers are going to be without Bucky Irving. They're going to be without Mike Evans, and they're going to be without Chris Godwin. All of them missing Sunday with different injuries. Evans a hamstring, Godwin a fibula, and where did Bucky Irving go? A foot shoulder injury. Limited in practice yesterday. Levante David, who's been a very important piece of their defense this year. Christian Eising, he's limited in practice yesterday. Tristan Wirfs, he seems like he's going to play, and Teddy Bridgewater limited in practice. Obviously, we wouldn't have to see him. But Jason, this is really a game of survival of the fittest. The 49ers are probably going to be without Ricky Pearsall. They might be with Jawan Jennings, but they're going to be without their starting quarterback, Brock Purdy. It's going to be another Mac Jones game, it seems like. The Buccaneers, on the other side, they are going to have their starting quarterback in Baker Mayfield, but they're going to be without his 3 biggest weapons in Mike Evans, Bucky Irving, and Chris Godwin Jr. So, Jason, where do you stand on, as I said at the top, survival of the fittest almost? Where do you stand on this matchup after hearing all of those injuries?
Well, I think the more important ones are the fact that Zion McCollum and Benjamin Morrison are not going to play in this game either for a secondary that even when they were healthy were ripe to get picked on. So we again, styles make fights, right? And again, who's playing in this game? Okay, well, the 49ers are down Ricky Pearsall. Maybe Jawan Jennings plays. You might be watching, and let's just operate under the assumption that it's going to be Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Jake Tonjes, and Christian McCaffrey. you can almost see mirror for mirror how the 49ers can win this game. They can already attack the field intermediate against the secondary. Now the secondary is even more banged up. I think I don't really scoff too much at the injuries for the Bucks offense because Godwin, when he was playing, wasn't in shape anyway, and he looked like somebody who was struggling to come back from a devastating leg injury.
Mhm.
So you can take that one off. They've already played without Mike Evans. Emeka Ibuka is that guy. Kate Otton's fine, and Bucky Irving hasn't played, and Rashad White's very good.
Yeah.
So I'm not nearly as worried about their offense as I am the 49ers having to take advantage of their defense that was already poor. Now the problem is that this is going to have to be another 35-40 throw game for Mac Jones because the Bucks are very good against the run. They're not going to get it going this week, and that has nothing to do with running outside or running up the middle. It doesn't matter where you run. Vita Vea is going to stop you up the middle. Someone's going to stop you outside. That's how good this run defense is. It's another Mac Jones 35-40 drop back game. Now you just got to hope that he protects the football, and it's going to come down to who makes a mistake and who doesn't make a mistake. But it has to be the bigger injuries for me are on the defensive side because it tilts the game back to the 49ers offense because I wasn't worried about the Bucks offense and who was going to be playing because
Mhm.
Baker's on a heater and they still are going to be able to score points in this game.
It's funny you mentioned the or Mac might have to take 40 dropbacks, not turn the ball over, and that's where I really focused on this game. Jason Aponte is these two teams are very similar in that sense. If you thought the Niners were bad at forcing turnovers, and they haven't been very good, only 5 turnovers forced through 5 games, all 5 being on the ground. The Buccaneers have forced fewer turnovers than the 49ers. Like playing they only have 4 through 5 games. They've only had, I think, 2 in one game, 2 in another. So they've gone 3 games without forcing a turnover. The Niners at least have been a little more consistent than that. But I think that's where it kind of helps that Mac Jones is playing in this game because he's been way more careful with the football than Brock Purdy. And I mean, that's a fact. I saw a lot of people shitting on Geno Smith for his performance and all his interceptions that he's thrown this season. Well, Brock Purdy and Geno Smith have the same exact interception percentage at 5.5% of their passes have been intercepted. So, like, that's the level of turnover. I'm not going to sit here and say Purdy's playing at a level of Geno Smith, but Purdy's been turning the ball over as much as Geno Smith has. Mac Jones, he only has 1 interception on the season. He's only thrown an interception on 0.6% of his passes. So that is something that I think is really going to help the Niners. Is I'm not going to sit here and say that I'd rather have Mac Jones start every game against Brock Purdy, obviously, but in a situation where it's a defense that's not forcing turnovers in the Buccaneers, it's very good to have a quarterback who hasn't exactly. I mean, he didn't really have a near interception against her. I think he had one pass that was dropped over the middle of the field, but he hasn't really had too many turnover worthy throws. So I think that's something that's going to really benefit the 49ers this game, especially if they have to throw the ball a lot. Because again, Jason, we've been waiting for this 49ers run game to get going. This doesn't feel like it's going to be the game. Obviously Tampa Bay is very good. But then on the flip side, Tampa Bay doesn't turn the ball over at all. They only have 2 turnovers on the season. Baker's thrown an interception. Bucky Irvin's had 1 fumble. Those are their two turnovers on the season. They happened both in the Philadelphia game. So 4 of their 5 games, they haven't turned the ball over. The 49ers, obviously, I talked about it, haven't forced an interception yet this season. They haven't forced an interception since week 10 of last season. They forced the 5 fumbles, obviously, very clutch fumbles, because if you think of the 5 fumbles, Jason, 3 have come in fourth quarter, minute or less situations, with Bosa getting to Darnold in week 1, Bryce Huff getting to Spencer Rattler in week 2, and then obviously last week where Alfred Collins, I knew I was going to do it. I said Alfred Collins too many times in a row not to do it. Alfred Collins forcing the fumble at the 1-yard line against the Rams. So it's really dare I say, Jason, styles make fights. Both defenses aren't exactly forcing turnovers. Both offenses aren't turning the ball over, especially with the Niners with Mac Jones. And these two teams, I'll touch on it here in a minute, have played in a lot of one-possession games. So it really might come down to who makes the key turnover in the key spot. And that's what Sunday might come down to, especially with all the injuries.
Yes, protect the football, man. That's what it's going to be about. And is if you do get that second interception, finally, it. And I just talked to Dieter, and he did bring up, like, and this is true when you watch that tape, is Baker Mayfield's putting that ball in, not in harm's way, but somebody's got to make a play, and eventually
Yeah.
you can't live in those parameters. So You hope the Malik Mustafa thing is something that you can kind of see change, again, because, I'm not nearly as down on Marcus Siegel as other people are. I think Jason Pinnock's got to come off the field when Malik Mustafa is ready to go, and I think that's the way to go. But a few other things too, like, Kyle Shanahan has success against Todd Bowles. He just
Yeah.
does. And they're able to move the football regardless of who's there. Now, last season they weren't able to get into the end zone. They had red zone issues, but the kicker was missing kicks. And that game would have never had to come down to Evan Anderson saving it. But two things that are going to be very constant in this game. Todd Bowles' defense is going to be stout against the run. And this is not the week that you're going to get the run game going at all. And also, the Todd Bowles' defense is going to blitz the shit out of the San Francisco 49ers. And it hasn't translated into success for their defense. On the back end, that's going to leave them very much susceptible to passes. And Mac's been getting the ball out quickly. This is going to be literally what you do and what are you going to do about it and how you're going to change these things. So if you want to blitz and blitz and blitz and run it out of cover one, then Mac's going to have the answers pre-snap, identifying and getting the ball out quickly. But it hasn't translated to that. And I just have a feeling that, there's not going to be too much defense played in here. It's just going to come down to who can make a play on defense and who's going to be the one who actually makes a game-changing play. By the way, that game-changing play might come on special teams because, again, the Tampa Bay Bucs are worse than the 49ers on special teams. Don't ask me how, but yes, they are, and that's another way. So, again, it's almost parallel to how we talked about the Rams game one for one. What the Bucs are bad at doing is they give up catches underneath over the middle. Sounds like a good Changes game and Kendrick Bourne and Christian McCaffrey. That sets all up very well. But without those natural separators, there's not going to be those chances to go down the field. And I feel like people are just taking what happened in this game with the Rams as, oh, Mac's not pushing the ball down the field. He'll take his shots, but he doesn't have separators to get down there. So again, this is very much lining up for an offensive game, and it is going to be on the shoulders of Mac Jones and this offense to really offset the Bucs offense, who, while they're missing all those people, I am telling you right now, you better not sleep on this offense at all with the way that Baker's playing, with the way that Ibuka's playing. The sum of their parts might sound funny. Sterling Shepard and Tez Johnson, who I actually really liked in the draft process, you may scoff at that and you want to look at that, but no way, man. If that quarterback's playing that well, that's not something to sleep on, and I don't think they're going to have problems moving the football, especially with the 49ers struggling to generate pass rush. Oh, by the way, Tristan Wirth is back, so that doesn't help either.
No, and Agbuka is a type of player who I think has shown in 5 weeks that he doesn't need Evans and Godwin to be able to take over a game himself. So that's something of a concern. My biggest concern about the Mac Jones game, Jason Aponte, is I don't think Mac Jones is very healthy right now. Obviously, there was some concerns yesterday. I think he only had a couple throws. He didn't really throw at practice yesterday, at least in front of the media. We saw the results of him at the end of that game on Thursday. And I think this is kind of like the Buccaneers game, or not the Buccaneers game. They're playing the Buccaneers on Sunday. This is like the Jaguars game where Mac Jones wasn't healthy. Brock Purdy wasn't healthy enough, but you'd rather take a 75% Brock Purdy over an Adrian Martinez game. And I think that's kind of the same thing. Strawberry Rex, to be fair, he wasn't really taking shots when Pearsall and Jennings were out there either. I think it's the way Kyle is calling plays for him. He wants to get I remember against the Saints, there was a deep shot to Jennings to win the game.
Well, he missed Pearsall on a 50-yard touchdown. That's a shot. The shot to Jennings. The shot on 4th and 1 to Pearsall. Again, you can't take shots if there's nobody available to throw. Like that's not. I don't think that's accurate at all.
No, but again, the blitzing that Jones is going to see, like it's going to be imperative, Jason Aponte, that the Niners protect Mac Jones on Sunday. They can't let him take any straight hits like he was taking on Thursday against the Rams, because if I'm going to be 1,000% honest, Jason, I have no book on Adrian Martinez. I would not know what to expect if Adrian Martinez hits the field on Sunday.
Neither does he.
And he did not look excited.
He did not want to go in that game.
He did not look very excited when Mac Jones was hurt on Thursday. So
he was that Drewski meme. He was like,
yeah, you should me. But I think it's a situation where the Niners are going to have to keep Mac Jones upright. And that has proven to be an issue. We saw how many hits he took after he threw against the Rams. So if the Niners are going to win this game, a lot of things are going to have to happen. But the number one thing that's going to happen is Mac Jones stays healthy. And I don't know if the offensive line can hold up that well against this defensive line. And this blitz that Todd Bowles is going to throw at the Niners.
Well, the good news is that while they do blitz a ton, the 5th highest rate, they're still on blitz EPA per play. When they do blitz, they're still giving up 0.17, which is 17th in the NFL. So it's not like that is generating anything. Now they do create the seventh highest amount of pressure, 34.9, and their pressure EPA is minus 0.10, which is not where you want to be. When it comes to that. So I mean, just they're going to, but they understand all these things, and I think that Kyle Shanahan understands that, and Mac's gonna get the ball out quickly. I'm not tripping about that too much. What I do worry about though at times in this game is the fact that things are going to get very predictable because the 49ers aren't going to be able to run the football at all. Like in this game, I really don't think they're going to be able to run the football at all. Like it's going to be even worse than with the Rams. Like you may have to just show the run to say that you haven't completely abandoned it, but it's not something that you're going to be able to do. This is just how Todd Bowles' defenses work. And I think all of these things are true. And again, you have historical data 2019, 2022, 2023, 2024, like all those years that they've played. It's been a constant that the 49ers have been able to get the better of Bowles regardless of the sum of the parts. 2019 score looks a lot different because Jameis Winston threw 2 pick-sixes and that offense wasn't exactly ready to go. It was Jimmy Garoppolo's first game since 2018, and Raheem Mostert wasn't the starting running back. Richie James caught a touchdown on a wheel route. That was it. Jimmy Garoppolo threw an interception in the red zone in that game. But then the other games, you have Brock's first start against Tom Brady, kicked their ass. And then the next year, it would have been the same thing. In 2023, obviously they did the same thing. But I'm saying like last year's game, there's still historical precedent here for them to do that. It's gonna turn into what can you do on defense? Who's gonna make a play and who's gonna eventually make the play that's going to change the game? Doesn't have to be an interception, could be a turnover on downs. But I'll tell you this, secondary, I don't care who the receivers are. Baker Mayfield, when he gets outside of the pocket, that was where he was making all of his plays in this game against Seattle. And that is, you have to remain disciplined. Do not panic. Do not turn around and jump into people. Make sure your eyes on the ball. You're being disciplined, because that's where that's going to kill you. That'll be on third down. That'll be how they create their explosives rather than just straight drop back or up play action, which they don't use much.
Yeah, Jason, you mentioned the run game, the Tampa Bay's run defense, just to give people an idea of how good it is. They allowed 69 yards in week 1 to the Falcons' run offense. That's Bijan Robinson, a pretty good running back. Allowed 84 rushing yards to the Texans. I believe that would have been Nick Chubb at that point. I don't remember exactly who the running back was there. Breece Hall and the Jets only got 99 total rushing yards, and then the Eagles with Saquon got 88. Last week, they had their worst game, 122 against the Seahawks. But I mean, that's proven to be the outlier compared to the reality of what the Buccaneers run defense has been. So that's going to be a tough matchup for Mac Jones and Christian McCaffrey get going. I'm curious to see how much Brian Robinson we see, just to kind of switch it up a little bit. We feel like we've seen less and less of him every week, but maybe switch it up a little bit, see what happens. I mean, really, McCaffrey's biggest value has been in that pass game. So I'm curious to see how they handle that, especially against this defense. And then, yeah, you already mentioned it, Jason. The Niners are 3-0 against the Todd Bowles-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've won 4 in a row dating back to 2019. That game you mentioned, which I believe was a Bruce Arians game.
Yeah, but he was the defensive coordinator.
Oh, that is true. Yes, you're correct. Yeah, so that is Bowles not doing very good. The games have gotten closer as we've gone on. Last year, obviously the closest, but again, that should have been a bigger blowout than it actually was. The Niners had a certain kicker that I'm not going to name. He missed 3 kicks in that game.
The kicker who shall not be named is how.
Yeah, exactly. No nose and everything. Yeah. I like that, Jason. But yeah, this is really a, don't let the injuries for the Buccaneers make you think they're lesser because of Egbuka. Like, that's really the big thing that I'm nervous about, is him having a big game. Rachaad White is not a guy who you can sleep on as a running back. I mean, he's been a starter in this league for how many ever years with the Buccaneers until Bucky Irving's kind of taken over. So he has that experience. This is again, as I said, Jason Aponte, this is a styles create matchups. And this is going to be a fist fight. And this is 2 teams, Jason, that have been battle tested. The 49ers, all 5 of their games have been 1-possession games. They're 4-1 in those games. Well, guess what, Jason Aponte? The Buccaneers have played in 5 1-possession games. They're 4-1 in those games as well. Baker Mayfield, it really comes down to, Jason, because, and it's weird you can say this with Mac Jones, But it really comes down to who has the ball last. And that might be the winner of this game because Baker Mayfield has made a habit of driving down the field and winning these games. He did it against Houston, did it against Atlanta. The Jets, they allowed a comeback. He had a chance to make the comeback against the Eagles, threw an interception. And then last week, a bad Sam Darnold interception kind of put them in field goal range for that game-winning kick. But Mac Jones has done it a couple times already, too, with late drive. I mean, especially at the end of the first half. Late drives of getting down the field and getting points on the board. This might be a game, Jason, of who has the ball last is going to win this game.
Yeah, and if we're talking about them not running the football, then we've got to throw out some numbers that'll make you feel a little bit better. The 49ers are 8th in the NFL with 70.4% of their throws coming short. The Tampa Bay defense has allowed the third highest rate of short passes, and their EPA per play is 0.24, which is 29th in the NFL on short passes. The 49ers are 5th in EPA per play on short passes. Let's move to intermediate. Intermediate is 20.6%, which is 18th in the NFL for the 49ers, 0.16, which is 25th, meaning they're not actually doing too well in the intermediate, but the Tampa Bay defense, 17% of their throws have been hit. Intermediate, that's 29th in the NFL. 0.30 EPA per play, which is the 11th worst, which is another place where you can attack them. Let's look at the deep numbers. The 49ers throw the ball deep 9% of the time, which is 25th, but they have a deep EPA of 0.61, which is 10th in the NFL. And the Tampa Bay defense, 9.4% deep percentage of throws on them, which is 24th in the NFL, but they allow the 11th worst, 0.20 EPA per play down the field. This has absolutely got to be a passing game. If Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings were full goes in this game, and I don't even want to think about what I'd think if George Kittle was playing in this game, I would be laughing to the bank at how the 49ers are going to carve this defense up. I still am very confident because I do believe in the game plan that they're going to put together, and I do believe that Mac Jones, as long as he doesn't, turn the football over, it's going to be fine. But I would be absolutely not even stressed about this game in the least. So I still think the 49ers are going to be able to do what they want offensively. I really don't think there's going to be too much defense played. It's just going to boil down to who can make a play and who's going to change the narrative one way or another about how they are, offensively and stylistically. And then, when you look on the other side, when you look at the 49ers and the way that they defend, their defense is very good against short passes, which means they're running and tackling to the ball minus 0.11 on EPA on those. Intermediate is where they can be had, and deep is where they can be had, and that's where we're worried about, right? With this Baker Mayfield led offense. So 0.44 EPA per play on intermediate throws. That's the 17th worst for the San Francisco 49ers, and on deep passes 0.80. That's 24th. That is the 7th worst, 8th worst in the NFL. So, yeah, this is, I don't care who's out there. Baker's going to sling it, and you've got to play discipline in this game, and especially when he gets out of the pocket. So it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, this would be a perfect game, Jason, too, where the Niners maybe force a mistake from Baker Mayfield, force an interception. I'm going to keep saying it until they do get that intercept, that all-elusive interception. But it's really, again, I don't want to rip our Thursday preview for last week's game, but it's really going to be the Niners offense having to stay ahead of the chains, keep the possession, don't turn the ball over, and that's the Mac Jones type of game. I mean, he's thrown so many of his passes in that 0 to 10 yard range. I think half of his passes have been in that short range. You wish, and I'm with you, Jason, not just because of this Buccaneers matchup, but because I would like the Niners offense to have better players. But you wish that a Pearsall, a Jennings, and a Kittle could be in this game. But obviously they're not. I mean, Jennings sounds like he might be trending the right way, but somebody just to stretch the field a little bit. But if the Niners can have a first half like they did against the Rams, where they get a free 14 points at the top, you got to feel good. Obviously, you want that to carry over to the second half. The Rams, I think, did a very good job adjusting to it. But this is going to be a different monster. This is going to be a different beast, right? That Rams defense, they just kind of let the Niners start off hot. I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to do that because Todd Bowles is a little bit more aggressive in terms of that sense. So we'll see what the Niners weapons have, but it's really going to come down to Mac Jones and keeping that offense moving and keeping the first downs going. I know I sound very simple when I'm breaking down this game, but that's kind of what we've been reduced to with this offense. There is no fancy to it. It's just they're going to have to stay ahead of the chains and just keep moving the ball downfield and have a situation. I mean, I don't think running, what was it, 82 plays? I think that's what the Niners ran against the Rams last Thursday. I don't know if that's plausible because that's such a high number, but it's going to have to be that same type of game plan. It's going to be a more boring 49ers offense. If they get that chance to take that deep shot, then obviously Mac Jones has shown he's going to take it. He hasn't been super accurate on it, but he, as you said, there's examples of it where he hit Pearsall on that 4th and 1 against Arizona. There's going to be those chances, especially with the injuries in the secondary. But it's just this game is really just going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. And I've watched this Niners team through 3 games with Mac Jones. They haven't made too many mistakes, and that's where I feel confident in it. I obviously Baker Mayfield is on a heater. Baker Mayfield is in the MVP conversation through 5 games right now. So obviously that's going to be a tough thing for the Niners defense to do. But the Niners defense is fully healthy. I mean, as healthy as they can be. Obviously no Nick Bosa, but getting Malik Mustafa back is going to be huge for this defense. And Jason, I'm with you. I think Siegel's rep, I think a lot of people see the past stuff, right? I think that's a very fair thing to talk about. But what he's done in the run game has proven that he needs to be on the field more than Jason Pinnock. I mean, when have you realistically noticed Jason Pinnock? And I guess maybe it's a positive you don't really notice Pinnock as much because he's not getting beat on those deep passes. Well, Jason watches the film, so you love that. But it's going to be a game where you want the Niners defense to force at least 1 or 2 turnovers and then have a clean game for the Niners offense.
Yeah, and you know these numbers, they against I don't care who's out there. These are things that are going to be constant. 10.6% explosive play rate for the Bucs. That's 8th in the league. The 49ers allow the 10th most explosive play rate, 8.5%. That's not good. Like that's not lining up perfectly. When you talk about the way that the 49ers kind of attack, if we're talking about cover 2, cover 3, however that's going to be, then you're looking at a 41% too high safety rate, and the Tampa Bay Bucks shred that 0.46, the highest EPA per play against too high. Like these things are going to be paramount, and they don't throw middle of the field very much. They're 28th in the NFL, 15.8%, but their middle of the field rate, their EPA is 7th in the league, 0.52. This has to be like, you get a bounce to go your way, or you finally make a play on the ball and everything as well. Like that's the one thing we could at least say about Siegel. He's in the way, but man, like this game is just such a disadvantage of like what they do well, what the 49ers struggle with, and you kind of hope that Malik Mustafa is gonna help this secondary out, but I just Renardo Green and Diamador Lenore have to play out of their mind in this game, and one of those guys have to come down with an interception. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Renardo Green, because they'll probably target him a little bit more than Diamador Lenore. He actually played very well on Thursday, so if I'm doing a prediction that we do every single week that somebody's gonna get an interception, I'm gonna go Renardo Green this week. But it just sucks that everything that the Bucs do very well on offense is something that the 49ers defense struggles with, and it's gonna be bad, man.
Yeah, no. That's, as I said, that's what I found very interesting, is just how similar these two teams are, at least in terms of forcing turnovers in the close games. But there are things where it's going to be concerning for this team. I mean, it's the pass rush obviously is missing a lot, and getting pressure on Baker Mayfield is going to be huge. I know there's some rumors about maybe Bradley Chubb. The Niners are probably going to have to make a move sooner rather than later because this pass rush isn't really jumping out in any sense of the word, but forcing. And I mean, Niner fans would know just how tough it is to force Baker Mayfield to make that mistake. Obviously, there was the play last year where Baker kind of held up Nick Bosa as he was scrambling to his right. Like, Baker is a tough quarterback, and he's a tough quarterback to play against. And again, Egbuka is going to be a huge role in this game, and how often they connect is going to be a big indicator of how successful the Buccaneers offense is going to be. But I'm very curious because I feel like this is going to be and nothing against the Rams at all, because they're a very talented offense. But I feel like this is going to be the first big test for this Niners defense because of what Baker can offer. And again, nothing wrong with Matthew Stafford. Obviously, he's a little bit older, not as mobile as he used to be. But Baker is the type of guy who can improv and make plays happen, and he's going to keep your defense on its toes. Obviously, I'm very happy that there's no Chris Godwin and no Mike Evans, but That's what happens when you hit on your first round draft picks, man, is you get guys who come out and just the second they play, they're going to be good. And that's what Egbuka's been. This is not going to be an easy challenge for the 49ers defense. And I'm very curious to see what Robert Saleh draws up to stop this hindered Buccaneers offense. But a Buccaneers offense, I mean, they scored 38 points last week, right? Without, and we talked about it, Jason. We talked about how much we like the Seattle defense back at week 1. They scored 38 points without Bucky Irving and without
30 in the second half.
30 in the second half. And they had 3 receptions for 26 yards from Godwin. So he was more or less a non-factor. This is a defense. This is an offense that could put up points. And the Niners defense has shown that they don't allow a lot of points. This is just going to be a good football game between two teams that are hurt. And it's just going to come down to who doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really what I'm looking for here is I want to see this team be tested by a quarterback who's on a heater. And the Rams game you can almost kind of chalk up, and I don't put too much stock into that, meaning the 49ers and them, they play those games so close that they know each other. I want to see you now against another NFC team that you're not really as familiar with, that is on a heater. Like with the Rams, like those games are always going to be that close. There's never going to be any blowouts unless the 49ers blow them out. They know each other very well. The 49ers understand exactly what they're trying to do on offense. Obviously, they know Sean McVay, so does Robert Saleh. Very interested to figure out what they look like against a team that's on a heater like this, that's not in the division, that's somebody that they don't face off with, all the time. And it is a very good test. And no matter what happens in this game, again, both teams have played 1-score games all year. Is what's going to change, right? Who's going to break here? Is it, one of these teams has to lose a 1-score game, eventually. And that's the thing about 1-score games is that, we watched the Kansas City Chiefs last season win all those 1-score games, and that just is an anomaly. That's just not how it works. And if you keep playing in 1-score games, it's gonna not go your way the entire time. Like it's just not how the law of averages works. So all of these things are the things that I'm looking for. Is again, this team is gonna have to play another tense down the stretch game, and that's obviously what it's gonna be. And you'll see in my score prediction and what I think. And I'm very interested to see what they do against an offense that's very hot, that is not a divisional offense that all the time, that has been playing very well. And I want to see, this is a very good litmus test, especially with Malik Mustafa coming back, so what this secondary is going to look like when they do have to face teams that are outside of the division in big games.
Okay, so let's start working our way towards those predictions. We've been doing every game so far for the past few weeks, hit or miss. The season's been hard to predict. I don't know what it's been, but it's been a tough season to predict.
I've been looking up and I'm like, damn, I mean, thank God we're not keeping score.
Yeah, we're just throwing. Hey, I got the Jaguars right. That was probably my best pick of the year, so I'll take
Chiefs,
that.
Yeah.
But let's run through it, Jason. Let's get to the Niners prediction here. Niners not going to be wearing their white uniforms. They're going to be wearing their reds, which I know we care about so much. But let's start Sunday morning, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, England. The Denver Broncos take on the New York Jets. Yeah, I got Denver. I think Denver coming off that win. They're going to be hot. So let's move on.
It would be the funniest thing though in the world for the Jets to only win a game not in America though. That would be hilarious, and that would be so Jets.
It would be very Jets. It would be very, very Jets.
By the way,
especially against a Denver team that comes off a very impressive win against Philly.
That Denver defense has been had on the ground. They've been giving up 5 yards per rush. And if you guys have been worried about Marcus Siegel, I think you guys forgot that Talanoa Hufanga used to get his ass whipped in coverage too, and it's still happening. So just saying.
Let's get to the games in the States. Jason Aponte, the Arizona Cardinals head to Indianapolis to take on the Indianapolis Colts. Kyler Murray's injury up in the air. I don't think it matters either way. I am starting to think the Colts are legitimate, and so I'm going to take the Colts in this game.
The Colts are, and their defense is very legitimate, and I'm going to keep making a joke until somebody says that it's terrible. Could you imagine DeForest Buckner and Charvarius Ward on the 49ers defense? I mean, that would be really impressive. But yeah, they're good. They're going to get it done. The Cardinals are a mess, and they're on their way to getting their coach fired. Yeah, I don't see how they win this one.
The Chargers take on the Dolphins in Miami in what could have been a what-if game because Miami took Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert. The rest is history. The Dolphins are where they're at. The Chargers are trending in the right direction. At least not going to sit here and say they're in a better spot than the Dolphins, but they're in a pretty
2-game
good
losing
spot
streak.
compared to the Dolphins. They have lost 2 in a row, but I think that streak ends on Sunday. I think the Chargers go into Miami, beat the Dolphins.
Yeah, give me the Chargers. I mean, the funniest thing is like I love hearing people say that like, oh, Jim Harbaugh invests in offensive line, invests in offensive line. Well, what happens when your offensive line gets hurt? Like, Joe Alt's not playing, Rashawn Slater is hurt, and I think the secret that nobody ever wants to talk about is the internal offensive line for the Chargers has not been good ever. So I again just pushing back on little narratives, things like that. I just can't stand when people are just like, oh, this is why I want Harbaugh, blah blah blah. Yeah, the internal offensive line, the inside guys, they're not that good. And then when Alt and Slater are out, that's what you get. So I'm just saying, just putting it out there. But yeah, the Chargers are going to win this one.
The Patriots head to the Big Easy to take on the Saints. The Saints coming off their 1 win of the season against the New York Football Giants. The Giants obviously did not care about that loss as they beat Philadelphia last night. Rough night for Philadelphia sports last night, Jason Aponte. But the Patriots will offer a different test. I think New England, off the momentum of that huge Sunday night win, I'm a big believer in Drake May. I saw it on Sunday. Been a big believer in him most of this season. I'm going to go the Patriots over the Saints.
Yeah, give me the Patriots. But yeah, man, I said it last night on Twitter. Kellen Moore deserves his flowers. He leaves that Philadelphia offense. They are just in the shitter right now. And look at what he's done with Spencer Rattler. I wasn't big on Spencer Rattler, but he's been very good this season, and he's turned him into a very solid player. Don't let Kellen Moore get a guy in New Orleans, is what I'm going to say. Don't let him get a guy. Like, if he gets a guy, things change quickly in New Orleans. But yeah, I still got the Patriots. They're playing too well, man. I'm not Bo Nix. Drake May is hooping.
The Browns head to Pittsburgh. Dylan Gabriel getting his second career start. You wouldn't know that, however, with how many times I've seen it reported that Shedeur Sanders is their backup quarterback now.
Yep.
I think the Steelers win. I don't think Cleveland's very good. Their defense is good, but I think Pittsburgh comes out on top.
I got Cleveland in this one. And
Okay,
you know what?
like
This is exactly the type of game that this is a letdown game for them. And Cleveland's defense is no joke, man. Them getting Tyson Campbell, that's substantial. It's funny because we talked about like, hey, who could the Browns be moving off of? And I kept saying it was going to be Greg Newsome. I didn't think it was going to be, I thought it was going to be the 49ers. But you know what? Give me Cleveland, man. I'm looking at this letdown game for the Steelers, and I know that it's going to be tense, it's going to be close, and I just don't believe that much in that Steelers offense overall. I have a lot of belief in Cleveland's defense, and I think Dylan Gabriel looked fine against a very good Minnesota defense, by the way. He won't be facing that against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, you know what? Call me crazy. I got Cleveland.
I like it. I'm 50-50 on that. I'm not high on the Steelers, so I can see that one going either way. I'm just going to take Pittsburgh because I still like Aaron Rodgers. So like, I'm the last one on that bus. It feels like, but that's okay. The Cowboys head to Carolina to take on the Panthers. I've been really impressed with the Cowboys this season. Like not
so
obviously they're not the best. They're not, but like they're better than what I thought they'd be. Dak's been playing really good ball even without CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to take Dallas to continue that hot streak because I don't know what to make of Carolina, man. They go from good to bad to good to bad. Maybe this will be a good week, and I probably should pick them, but I'm gonna take the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, I am too, man. And shout out to Brian Schottenheimer, man. You've really amended the play caller that you were and your philosophy because it used to be run the ball until we turned football back into the Stone Age, but you've turned it over to Dak Prescott, and he's been playing so well. I mean, if we talk about quarterbacks like Baker in the MVP conversation, probably no better quarterback than, that's playing better than him than Dak Prescott right now. And I know people don't want to hear that, but yeah, and without CeeDee Lamb. But I just want to say, Rico Dowdle, Cowboys, watch your fucking back. Rico Dowdle revenge game. He wants to give you all of that after coming off 200 off of Miami. So yeah, you better watch your back, man. Rico Dowdle's got revenge on his mind, but still, I believe in the Cowboys to win this one, even if they don't play a lick of defense.
Seattle heads down to Jacksonville to take on the 4-1 Jaguars. As you mentioned, random trade happened this week. Tyson Campbell heads to Cleveland for Newsome. He goes down to, as the kids are saying, Strapsonville, which I love that nickname, Jason Aponte. I'm a big Strapsonville guy. Pause, I guess. But I'm going to take the Jaguars in this game.
Yeah, I am too, actually. I mean, not just because we need it, but I mean, how much more can you see from the Jaguars before you start to believe? I mean, I don't know what the hell's gotten into Devin Lloyd, but my goodness, man, he's been incredible. Like that is, and that's a guy that's playing for a contract, man. Like he's playing out of his mind. You watch, they did enough. Like even when they're doing things wrong on offense, it's going their way. You know what? Give me the Jaguars, not just because I want Seattle to lose, but I do genuinely think that we need to start looking at them differently as a very good football team.
Rams head to Baltimore to take on the 1-4 Ravens. I believe no Lamar Jackson still,
Nope.
and that's all you need to know. That's all you
No,
need to know.
no Lamar Jackson. Cooper Rush is going to start. It's got to be the Rams, but it would be really funny if Cooper Rush has a chance to do the funniest thing in the world. But my football brain, the Rams. The Rams are going to win this one. The Ravens are a mess, man. The Ravens are an absolute mess. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
again, like we talked about it, man. It's just I'm not asking the Ravens to win games with Lamar Jackson out. Your offense can't even stay on the field. Your offense can't even get first downs. You still have Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely's back. You can't even get a first down. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what I always say. Like with Kyle and his backups, it's like, yeah, we don't expect you to win games, but god damn it, we expect you to not be 3-and-out or just like never have a first down. Like that's never been Kyle's thing. So yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on, man. John Harbaugh, figure it out. You're such a great coach, right?
Speaking about, I don't know what the hell's going on. What the hell's the NFL doing? Giving us 2 4 o'clock games this week.
Mm.
The 105 game, 405 for you, Jason. The Titans head to Vegas to take on the Raiders.
Ugh.
I think that's the best way to describe that game.
Oh.
I'm gonna keep riding the Titans because now it's just a bit. I picked them 2 weeks in a row. They pull the upset, and the Raiders aren't very good, man. Neither of these teams are very good, but I'm gonna take the Titans. I like Cam Ward.
Oh my God. I don't know what there's gonna come a time when it's June and I say I would kill to watch the Tennessee Titans play the Las Vegas Raiders. But it's October and I don't want to watch this game and I feel bad for the people that have to participate and watch it. Give me the Raiders, but man, this game sucks and the only thing that loses is America. I mean, if anybody has to watch this game and it's the one that's in your area, go for a walk. Go read a book somewhere. Just like
Outside.
don't even yeah, just
That's
go
correct.
do something. Do something else. Watch Citizen Kane. Like like do something productive with your time. But
Casablanca,
yeah,
just
watch
something.
a good movie. Yo, find a Humphrey Bogart movie and watch that because you're gonna have Maltese Falcon. You're gonna have a lot more fun watching that than you are gonna be watching the Titans and the Raiders. But Jesus Christ, man, this is fine. Just give me the Raiders, but America loses this one.
Well, you don't get much of a relief, Jason Aponte, if you don't want to watch that game because the only other game in the 4 o'clock window is 1:25 p.m. The Cincinnati Bengals take on the Green Bay Packers, and I know the bit is there that Joe Flacco has a chance to beat the Packers twice in the span of 4 weeks, but the Bengals defense is not the Browns defense. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers.
Nothing screams I'm gonna fix this offense by getting a statue behind a terrible offensive line and thinking that you're fixing it with Joe Flacco. I will say this. Joe Flacco is a certified dude. He just wants to get out there and he wants to throw the football. And for all of us Jamar Chase and T. Higgins fantasy managers, please just throw the football to them because, we don't care if you guys win or not. But Joe Flacco is certified Hall of Fame dude. That is going to be that is a straight up. I don't care. I'm off the couch. I'm here to chew bubble gum and throw bullets. That's all Flacco is gonna do. But yeah, he's gonna die behind that offensive line, and it's not gonna be good. So yeah, give me the Packers. I don't see how they win this one.
The only 2 games there in the 4 o'clock window. We moved to Sunday night football, and it should be a doozy. The Detroit Lions head to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 2-3, struggling quite a bit. I'm going to take the Lions, Jason. The Lions have looked really, really good. The Chiefs, I'm not going to say the Chiefs are bad, but they're definitely not a good football team right now. I would say they're average, to say the least. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions.
I know you don't want to hear this, but although there was that pick six for Mahomes, I the offense is getting there, and that was the
Yep.
best that they've looked in. That's the best they've looked in like 2 years, honestly, in that game against a very good defense. They're about to turn the corner here. But yeah, you got to give me the Lions in this one because the Lions are on pace to have the most points in football history, and that Ben Johnson shit, we can knock that off. And if we're talking about offenses in the NFC that are cooking, it's in whatever order you want. The Bucks, the Cowboys, and the Lions. And that's just the fact. There's very few quarterbacks. I know we're all on the Jalen Hurts thing. Because I'm all about slandering him because I don't think much of him as a passer anyway. But Jared Goff's playing better than him. Baker Mayfield's playing better than him. Sam Darnold's playing better than him. Dak Prescott's playing better than him. We've got Not only is he not top 5 in the NFL, he might not even be top 5 in the conference.
Yeah.
And that's just facts. Again, I am biased or whatever, but Jared Goff's been crazy, man, and they've been great, and they're gonna keep it going. I think they're gonna beat the Chiefs. They've done it before. They can do it again, and they've done it before against a better Chiefs team.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I remember that. What was it, 3 years ago? The Week 1 game. Detroit goes into Kansas City, gets that upset win on NBC. So it's kind of the same situation. Wouldn't be an upset this time. Jason, the reason we have 2 1 o'clock games is because we have a London game. And then for some godforsaken reason, we got a Monday Night Football doubleheader once again.
But staggered Monday night. Like, look, if you're going to do this, start the game first one at 7, start the next one at 10. Don't start it at 7:15 and 8:15 so I have to watch 2 games at the same time. God.
Well, the first game of the 2, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills at the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Bills bounce back. I think Buffalo goes into Atlanta, picks up the victory here. That was a rough loss against the Patriots. I don't think it happens again. Josh Allen corrects everything. The Bills will win.
Yeah, Bills win this one, but it's going to be close. I think Atlanta's got a good shot here to keep it close. That Bills secondary is really, really terrible, and I think they're going to have to just solely win games by the fact that their guy's an alien quarterback that's just going to win those games for them. But, ooh, man, I would not shy away from Drake London or any of those guys. I think they're going to have their way throwing the football in this game. This game's going to be a lot closer than people think, but the Bills got it.
And then the second game, a rematch of one of the crazier finishes last season. The Chicago Bears take on the Washington Commanders. I don't think it's going to take a Hail Mary this time, but I got the Washington Commanders beating the Bears in this one.
Yeah, give me the Commanders, and shout out to Debo. He's going to have another big game in this game. Not bad for a guy who's washed. But I do think coming off that game against the Chargers, they feel good. I know the Bears were on bye, so maybe they had a little bit of time to prepare. But Washington is pretty stout against the run. They're pretty stingy against the run, so you're going to make Caleb beat you with your arm. Romo Dunze is playing out of his mind, and that's a fine second-year player that they have there. But, yeah, give me the Washington Commanders, and they'll never make me hate you, Debo. I'll always root for you. It's good to see you hooping.
I lied to you guys. I apologize. ESPN.com. They put my favorite team at the top of the list. There's 3 games in the 1
There's 3 games
window.
at 4. Yeah, they got
flexed. We get to ignore the other 2 because the 49ers play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. The 4-1 Niners take on the 4-1 Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are 3.5-point favorites. Point spread is 47.5 points. That game will kick off at 1:25 on CBS. It is not a Fox game. It is on CBS. So just something people to know. Jason Aponte. I got the Niners, surprisingly, right? I'm going to take the Niners. I'm going to go 21-20. I think it's going to be a close game. I think both of these teams have shown they're tough. I think the Niners get a clutch interception. Malik Mustafa is going to make it. Niners put the game away with a late pick of Baker Mayfield.
Niners win 31-27. Mac Jones goes down the field and drives them in for a game-winning touchdown. And I think, again, there's not going to be a lot of defense played here, but it's going to, and I do think the 49ers finally get their interception, but this is going to be a high-scoring game. I just, I look around and I look at the way that both teams have problems, and whatever problem each team has, the other team does very well against. So that is just what I'm leaning on. And 31-27. 49ers win another 1-score game, and they win it in dramatic fashion. I think Mac Jones goes down the field and he finishes the job. 49ers move to 5-1. Then we can really, really start to count this money and start to make plans about the playoffs after that.
Yeah, hey man, they're off to a good start. That's why you bank those wins early, because after Tampa Bay, the schedule gets a little friendly. They go versus Atlanta, at Houston, at New York.
I don't think that's friendly at all. Actually,
right,
I think we need to rethink these next 3 games. Oh baby.
We'll see. We'll see what the Falcons look like tomorrow. I guess Monday night.
They're gonna throw the football, and again, if this secondary has trouble with the Bucs, they're gonna have trouble with the Atlanta Falcons and the way they throw the football. So, but Houston has an elite defense.
That's true.
Defense. And the Giants are nothing to play around with right now because Cam Scatterboo is destined to get CTE by week 7. Like, he just doesn't care about anything. And look how good Dart's been.
Where'd Scatterboo go to school?
Sac State. Stingers
Thank you. You said the correct one, not the one he got famous at. Sac State legend.
Sac State. Stingers up.
I'm assuming you've seen the onside kick, right?
Yep.
The onside kick. Whew. If you haven't already, go find the Cam Scatterboo onside kick return. because that might be one of the greatest runs I've ever seen, and it's crazy. But that's a couple weeks away, Jason. Niners got the Buccaneers on Sunday. We will be back live right after the game, talking ideally a 49ers win, but we will be back for instant reaction. And Jason, because of the dumb doubleheader on Monday night, I have a feeling it'll be a Monday lunchtime stream once again, but we'll get there once we cross that bridge. Jason, we'll be back Sunday. Instant reaction right after the Niners beat the Buccaneers. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners. Let's get this 5-1.
Let's go Niners. Bam.